Howdy, we are Team Snape, and I'm Alex Garrido.
I'm Harrison Chen.
And I'm Rahul Singh.
And our research project this semester was how to bring more freshmen to Fish Camp. So Fish Camp is one of the longest standing traditions at A&M, starting back in 1954, and essentially provides incoming freshmen with the opportunity to learn about Aggie traditions, build early connections, and also ease their life into new college with not only Fish Camp, but also after camp activities in the first semester of their freshman year. But however, the financial cost of attending fish camp has been a barrier for many students, limiting participation and accessibility. So our research project aims to address this issue by exploring solutions to reduce the costs and increase the affordability, ensuring all incoming students have the equal opportunity to experience one of their first Aggie traditions. So our objective was to research and identify the key financial factors that prevent students from attending fish camp and developing budgeting strategies to lower the costs and obtain financial aid. We did this by essentially examining fish camp structure, surveying staff and student perspectives, and comparing to other similar programs at other universities. We did this to aim and provide practical solutions and to increase fish camp's affordability and accessibility. So what was our methodology as we did this? To identify the factors that influences fish camp's costs and attendance, we first identified the primary cost factors. I was a previous fish camp counselor this past year in 2024. And so a quick background on I guess, the structure of fish camp. There's counselors, and then there's fish camp chairs who are in charge of one camp. Um, and then there's director staff who are the higher ups, and there are still students, and then there's the A&M advisors. So I was able to interview my former fish camp chair who has insight in the internal meetings that goes on for fish camp. And so it includes the cost factors of fish camp, which we'll go into later. We also highlighted the financial barriers that deter students from attending fish camp. We did this by surveying current A&M students by essentially creating a quick survey that we asked some questions about fish camp and if they went or they didn't went, which we'll get into in the results. We also assessed students' impressions of fish camp's cost versus value. Again, this was done through the survey. We also examined past experiences and controversies that may affect participation. We did this by reading articles, like stuff like the Battalion and other online resources. And lastly, we compared cost structures of similar programs. We did this by essentially looking at different universities across the United States who have similar freshman orientation camps to fish camp. And essentially, these methods helped us identify financial, social, and informational barriers and improve our solution in increasing fish camp's attendance.
So looking at the results, figure one is from our interview with the former fish camp chair. This shows that the overall budget of fish camp was over $1 million, with majority of it being allocated to the Lakeview rental. Figure two was the results from survey, shows the percentage of students who went to fish camp based on class year, and there's a slight variation between each class, with the highest percentage being 75% for a class of 28, and the lowest being 55% for a class of 26. Figure three was also from our survey, shows the overall perception of fish camp, with one being the worst and five being the best. And overall, you can see that there's a strong and positive perception of fish camp, with majority of ratings being fours and fives. Next was also from the survey, figure four, which shows the results from the question, would you have attended fish camp if it was free or significantly cheaper? And the specific question was targeted for non-attendees of fish camp. And you see majority would have attended or would have at least considered it if it were free or cheaper. Figure five is our comparative analysis of philanthropy money raised between organizations. And we looked at Aggie Suits and Pi Phi, Aggie Gems, FILSA, EGs, and one Army. And from one event, they were able to raise a couple $1,000 with one Army raising 180K. Figure six is our next comparative analysis of fish camp with other similar orientation programs. We looked at Fish Camp, Texas A&M's T Camp, Baylor's Outdoor Adventures, and Cal Poly's Week of Welcome. And between all of these, you can see that Fish Camp had the highest cost per day. And then next being Baylor's Outdoor Adventures, this one being a summer type of program in Colorado. TAMU's T Camp is a third in cost per day. And this is a transfer camp, similar to Fish Camp, which is also at Lakeview. And Cal Poly's Week of Welcome is a similar version of Howdy Week at Texas A&M. Next, we have Figure 7, which is the Fish Camp event timeline from 2020 to 2024. And in 2020 was when Fish Camp was held virtually. 21 was when sexual allegations of counselor misconduct was reported. 2022 was when TAMU admissions took greater control over Fish Camp. 23 was when they began offering new transportation options, such as carpooling rather than busing. And 2024 was when they considered relocation.
Okay, and so from those results, we were able to draw some conclusions. One of them being fish camp attendance is not consistent across class years, and the last 3 years has shown a positive trend, which is good, but we hope for 100% attendance. And then from figure three, we could see that most students rated fish camp a 4 or 5, which shows a strong overall perception, which means that most students probably would want to go to fish camp. And then fish camp has the potential to raise significant amounts of philanthropic funding based on the orgs on campus, which were able to raise a lot of money. Fish camp has the highest cost per day at $91.67, with other programs also able to offer more funding for out-of-state travel and excursions and such. Nearly 70% of the total fish camp budget is allocated specifically to renting the Lakeview retreat, which is with the second largest expense being bus transportation, but even that expense is way less than the Lakeview rental. And then cost is a significant barrier, as nearly 60% of non-attendees said they would have attended if it was significantly cheaper. This shows that there is a real issue in the cost, and misconduct allegations and administrative control shifts suggest that the trust of the fish camp organization has decreased. Um, and Texas A&M is attempting to rebuild the tradition's image. And based on the attendance rate in the last 3 years, it seems like they're doing a good job. Some recommendations and solutions we came up with were uh, there could possibly be a sliding scale payment system that's implemented, which allows students to pay according to their financial means, as our survey showed that nearly 60% of non-attendees would have attended if it was cheaper. And then we could also establish a dedicated fish camp scholarship fund through partnerships with the Association of Former Students and local businesses. And this could be inspired by the successful fundraising model of student orgs on campus that have raised nearly in between 30K to 180K. And we could also think about creating a competitive style philanthropy where other student orgs can participate to raise money. And we should think about developing transportation alternatives to reduce the somewhat pricey cost of $91.67 per day. which is significantly higher than other programs like Cal Poly's Welcome Week, which is only $29 per day. And then we could also create an early registration discount to encourage commitment and help with budget planning, addressing the inconsistent attendance rates across class years. And we could also launch a targeted marketing campaign highlighting Fish Camp's strong satisfaction rating. Most people rated it 4 to 5 out of 5. And this could combat the negative perception that has arose from past controversies. For example, why Fish Camp video posted on their websites and socials. And thank you.